Right everybody, welcome back to another Rams Astro video. This one's slightly different, it's probably going to be a wee bit longer. So we're going to talk about some old school wrestling toys, most of which, I'm going to say about 90% of these are from my actual childhood. We'll talk about these, but first we'll start off with some ones that belong to my son and my nephew that were donated to them from one of my mum's friends, but I'd borrowed them to do this video because they were in my childhood, but I no longer have them. They belong to them. These aren't them, but I had these as kids. So the first one here is a Lex Luger figure. This is a 1990 Galoob figure. So this was back when wrestling figures were just basic, solid plastic figures. They didn't have any posability, but their likenesses and things like that were quite good. So 1990 WCW Galoob. So yeah, their posability was not that great, but if we stick to the same year, 1990 to 1994 for WWF, or WWE as it is now known, Hasbro made WWF figures. So let's have a look at some of them now. So the first one we've got here is we have a Mr. Perfect. So Mr. Perfect, so this, you can see that they're still a bit basic, but there's more posability. You can move them left to right. Head slightly moves. They've got a bit of movement. He can do a headlock, but he also has some action, so he'll punch you. So we've got Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Quite a good one. We've also got Sergeant Slaughter, so he's also got double hand action, but the detail for these is somehow a wee bit cartoony, but quite good. I've also forgot to say my son is here, so he's learning things and seeing me talk about these wrestling toys. Say hi, son.
Hi.
So this is Sergeant Slaughter. The detail is quite good. So these ones belong to my son and nephew. They play with them at my mum's house. So we've also got the last single figures. We've got the Ultimate Warrior. I think this, I don't know if this is the first Ultimate Warrior or the second Ultimate Warrior figure, because I remember there's one that does the gorilla press, but this one has that action, so that let's see if it still does it. Nope, I messed it up. You're supposed to jump up. Let's try it again. Kind of something like that, or you can do the shoulder barge. Those, so as you can see, the wrestling figures are still basic, but the detail and cartooniness of them is awesome. So the rest of the figures we've got here are tag teams, except one. This one actually belongs to me. This is from my own personal collection. It's like the only one that survived because it's the Undertaker. This will be the only Undertaker figure I think you'll see today. So I've got that many Undertaker figures. I'm going to do their own video on them. So this is my Undertaker figure. It's seen better days. Like, you can see that I played with it quite a lot because the paint's chipped and things like that. It's aged quite a bit. I'd like to buy a newer one in better condition, or maybe a boxed, unopened one. So here a clothesline action. So you'd walk up to a figure and clothesline, Undertaker's taking out Mr. Perfect. So the next sets are tag teams. I thought I'd probably better talk about them in pairs. So we've got Typhoon and Earthquake, the natural disasters. These figures actually look like them. So these ones have a bit more posability. Their legs move. So they're not just stuck in these positions and wiggle at the waist. But I don't know if that's because they don't turn at the waist. He's got a double fist action. And I'm pretty sure he's got the exact same... Yeah, they've got the exact same action feature. But they do have more posability in their legs. They can move about. So these are the Hasbro figures. And the last ones are probably... Other than Hulk Hogan, I'd say they're the most famous Hasbro figures. They're very recognisable. Great tag team. I'd say one of the best tag teams of all time. We've got the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. We've got Hawk and Animal. I think I've got them the right way around. If I haven't, shoot me. So yeah, so this one's action is... he's the same as the Ultimate Warrior. He's got the shoulder barge action, which is more devastating with these spiky shoulder pads. His legs don't move. He doesn't even twist at the waist. So you can just pose him any way you want. And this one has the... this one doesn't work as well as it used to, but it does work with one hand. The gorilla press is supposed to do it with both hands at the same time. As you can see, they are slightly connected. So there is an Ultimate Warrior figure that does this exact same thing. You can put your figure on top and it's supposed to throw them. But they do look great on the shelf. But my son played with these when he was about 4, and my nephew plays with these. I think he's chewed some of them a little bit. You can see Sergeant Slaughter has a little bit of a chewed finger. That kind of hurts me a wee bit, but they enjoy it. So that's the Hasbro line. I should have positioned these a little bit better. Who cares? So we're going to move on now to 1996. That's when Jakks Pacific took over the WWF contract for action figures in the Attitude Era, mostly. So that was a jump cut just to get rid of those figures. So now we're going to talk about the Jack specific WWF figures. They took over the contract in '96. So the first lot figures they brought out were, I'm pretty sure they were the WWF Superstars range. My very first wrestling toys were in that range. They were The Undertaker and Goldust with bone crunching action. So I'll show a picture of them just now, because I don't actually have them anymore. So I loved that. Undertaker, the removable hat, and Goldust had a removable wig. I got them when I was on holiday visiting my uncle down in England. I got them from, sure it was a Toys R Us in Bolton or Bury, one of those two. It began with a B. And I remember going back to his house, opening them and playing with them on his living room floor. But I no longer have them. But I've got some from the later lines that weren't superstars. So the first one we've got here is we have a Kane. So this is like, these figures are completely different from what the previous Hasbro ones. These have a bit better articulation. They're fully rubber except the torso, which is hard plastic. Their heads are a bit hard, but they're a wee bit rubbery. So yeah, so you could bend their fingers, but they also had the bone crunching action. Let's see. Whoops. Let's see if we can get that heard. So if that's coming up on camera, that's meant to be their bone crunching action. So when you're playing with your figure, you can get them in the leg lock and you can make the leg crack. So this is Kane. I can't remember if this was part of a single pack or a double pack, because a lot of these rubbery figures, they have went missing over the years. These are a nightmare to stand without when they're official stands. They did come with stands. I don't know where. I had a couple ready to show off, but I don't know where they went. Would you be able to try and find them, son, behind me? You were using them when you were playing with the toys earlier. So, just let him fall. So another one we're going to talk about. This one belonged to my brother. This was his favourite wrestler of the Attitude Era. It was Edge. He loved everything to do with Edge. So, yeah, so there's some good detail in the figures. Like, you can see the belts. I'm not sure that looked like Edge at all. It looks nothing like Edge. What is with that face? I would say it looks more like mid-career Chris Jericho than it looks like Edge. Did you find one, son? Okay, so this was one of the later Attitude Era stands, so we'll use this just now. You don't need to find any more, son. So yeah, see, yeah, the silver one has gone walkabouts. It had the classic WWE logo, and I do not see it anywhere. No, it doesn't matter, son. So yeah, so as you can see, yeah, so that's how you'd get a stand. Not this stand with this series, but you would get a stand. And yeah, so Edge, my son, no, not my son, my brother, he loved Edge. But once Rey Mysterio came into WWE, his allegiances changed. So we had an Edge. There's also the Hardcore Holly. I'm not entirely sure it looks much like Hardcore Holly.
I've never seen him before.
You've never seen him before, son? He was a great hardcore wrestler. I loved watching him and his wee cousin Crash Holly. So I loved watching the hardcore matches. So this one, I don't know if that's just wear and tear or if there's meant to be a bit of detail on there. I'm going to say it's wear and tear. The legs are, that's one thing that's bad with these wrestlers. Their legs always got really loose. So so you couldn't do much. But yeah, he still has his vest on. Surprised it hasn't gone that weird sticky way that some Jack specific rubber goes. And he's even got, they had this signature line. So sometimes you'd get a figure with the signature on it. And as a kid, you're like, oh, he signed that figure. But growing up, you realise it's mass-produced printed signature. So I'm just going to sit him like that. Because we never really talked about the Kane's likeness. So we'll bring him back. So yeah, the Kane mask actually looks pretty good. I'm hitting the camera again. You can kind of see a bit of his beard. You can see that the fact that they've attempted to give him two coloured eyes, but they failed miserably. The hair could be a lot better. Costume, it's one of his two-sleeved costumes that I preferred if it was a single sleeve, but this was my only Kane for a long time, so beggars can't be choosers. That's the best we could have got for the Kane, so yeah, it's Kane. Another one I've got is, we've got Stone Cold Steve Austin here, and what looks like some sort of hockey, American football. This one's got a lot of wear and tear. The face kind of looks like Stone Cold. He's bald with a goatee. And it's a bit gingery. I don't remember Stone Cold being ginger. He's blonde. So there's a lot of wear and tear on this figure. All the joints are practically loose in this one. Look at his hip. His hip spins without any. But it does have some tattoo detail, which I thought was great.
I thought it was blood at start.
It does, from a distance it does look like blood, but it looks like it is a little cow skull with, I don't know,
A rose.
a
in the
rose or
background.
something. But it's Stone Cold. You've got detail in the shirt. We've got that fake signature on the shorts. You've got Austin 316 on the back. So yeah, it's a not bad Stone Cold. This next Stone Cold I got in a 2-pack with an Undertaker figure, but as I said, you're not going to see any of my Undertaker figures until I do my video on them. So this is a good one. So this one I would say looks more like Stone Cold. Look at that face. Don't trust nobody. Don't trust anybody. DTA. So Stone Cold said that. I don't ever remember him wearing anything that looks like this. So I think that's why I liked this figure as a kid, because Stone Cold was very plain for me. All he kicked about in was his trunks and knee pads. That was it. But I like the fact that this one was a Stone Cold and something. And this one, the legs aren't too loose, so he can stand. This next one is one of my personal favourites. It's my Mick Foley. This one did come with a Mankind mask, but I've since lost that as a kid. But I loved the fact that his hands were open like that, because not a lot of figures, their hands were always just clenched in fists, like Stone Cold here. Or if we look at Edge, you've got a slight fist and you've got one that you can maybe put a weapon in. But Mankind's hands were open like this, so that made doing the mandible claw very easily. Torso was solid, just like the rest of them, but he's got the bone crunching action if it still works. No, it's not working in any of these limbs. There we go. Still got the bones crunching action. He doesn't have his mask. He's got his tie. Got rubber legs. I think this is a great figure. My son still plays with this one from this today. So, and we've got one last one of these rubbery Jack specific toys. This one I remember buying at a time, and the man in the shop even looked at me and went, "You're the first person to buy this. Why are you buying it?" I was like, "Because I like this character. He's nice and colourful," and no one else had the toy. And I was like, I didn't. Other than the Undertaker, I tried not to buy the same toy over and over and over again, because I wanted to diversify my roster. I wanted a good little roster from a toy federation. So here we go. So I've got Kurgan. Does anybody remember Kurgan? He was part of the Oddities. So I always loved, I think he came with a jacket. I cannot remember that, but I always thought the detailing, even as a kid, was great. I'm hitting this camera all the time today, I'm sorry. But look at the detail in his face and his neck. It just looks like a mental case. And he's got, I'd say it's a unique pose for like the figures back then, because you could put his hand on and do the face claw. Do the face claw, which is great. He's got these great stripy trousers, which stand out. They're unique, especially for the figures. Not much to say about the back, the boots. But once again, he had the bone crunching action. Doesn't seem to work no longer for him. Oh well, no bone crunching action for him, but that was these ones. So that's what all that's left of my rubbery Jack specific toys. The biggest Jack specific toys of the Attitude Era, everyone knows, is the Titantron line. So we'll do a quick jump cut and we'll switch to start talking about the Titantron line. Before we get to the Jack specific Titantron toys, we found that stand that we were trying to find during that, so I just thought I'd show it off. So this is a stand that mostly came with those rubberized toys right before the Attitude Era and these ones took over. So yeah, so they acted exactly the same. You shove it in the little peg hole and you can display your figure. I don't think I ever really used these. A few years ago I found a cupboard, well, a box full of these and them, and I think I threw most of them out. Back before I took my wrestling figures a bit more seriously than I do today. So yeah, they don't do a great job because these are all rubberized and they're a bit loose, but it does look pretty cool. I could stick that to the wall and it would look great, the classic logo, but this one wins out every time for me. So, quickly jump cut, we'll get to those Jack Pacific. Oh, who cares? Right, let's talk about the Jack's Pacific Titantron action figures. I knew I'd get there in the end. So, first one I'm going to talk about is, because of how crap they looked in the rubberized version, is the one and only Stone Cold I've got. It's Stone Cold, but he's wearing a pair of jeans. I don't ever remember him kicking about like this at any point. But the main thing that, oh, he does look like he's got a bit of a Great Khali jogging on right now. I don't know what that's all about. The thing that made these toys stand out is, if everyone remembers the Titantron, it was a big screen at the top of the stage. These figures are called the Titantron line because I've got this chip on each foot. If you had the Titantron stage set, you put your figure on there, their theme tune would play. Which, back then, that was awesome. I'm trying not to swear because you're here, son, but that was absolutely awesome. I never had the Titantron set. Always wanted it. What me and my brother would do is we built our own stage. in front of our CD player, and we had all the WWF CDs with the theme tunes, and we would just play it. So that's Stone Cold, but these figures are a bit limited, and they're a bit better than the rubber ones, but they're extremely limited. As you can see, the arms don't have any bend joints, so all you can do is that and that. Their heads, most of them don't even move. This one seems to be an exception. Their legs, if you're lucky, you can get that high. Look. How are you supposed to do a big boot when the leg goes that high? Most of the time you've got to do that. It was really annoying. If you want to do a power bomb, like, you've got barely any give or any space, and the legs were always extremely stiff. So I bought hundreds of these toys, I'm not going to lie, I have lots of them. But I don't have as much as I used to have. I don't know what happened to most of them. But I wish they had a bit more playability, because I bought most of them because that's all they had for WWF at the time. If there was more options, I probably would have took them. So let's have a look at some more. So we've done Stone Cold. Let's look at a figure that is great, but I ruined as a child. You will see why I've ruined them. It's a Rock figure. Look at the detail in this figure. Look at the Brahma Bull. He's wearing his top. He's wearing his 2 stripes. But as a child, I, for some reason, took a permanent marker and drew a beard on him and drew over his eyebrows. I don't know why I did it. I've been trying to get it cleaned off ever since. I've been making slow progress. This is it slowly coming off. Every time I take a jab at it, I do take a layer. So eventually, hopefully, we'll be back to normal. So it says, know your role.
I didn't even know it was a Rock because of that.
You didn't even realise it was a Rock figure because I've drew the beard on here, son. So this is the Rock, son. So yeah, it says know your role. The detail in the figure is great. I just ruined it as a child by drawing a beard on him. So the Rock and Stone Cold figures look great. Hopefully they won't start. So this is a later Titantron one. This is one that's from my nephew and son's bag at my mum's house. It was one of the donation ones. Had never seen this one before. It's another Titantron Rock with the 2 stripe. He's got no top on. Detail in the face is pretty good. Maybe some of the paint is faded and chipped away, but I've never seen a Titantron one with bending arms before. These must have been quite a late release because I never got them. The hands could be much better, but I'd never seen ones with bending arms before, and it blew my mind when I seen it. I was like, I'd have killed for that. The legs are still stiff, but I think they feel like better quality joint wise. But I don't know if that's because he has got thicker. The figure itself is a bit bigger. I don't know what line it's from. It could have been like a deluxe line that I've never seen before. I'm going to have to look it up, but the figure's bigger. The legs is bigger built, the legs are thicker, the shoes are huge, but he still has the Titantron on there, and it says Titantron Live 1999, but I'm sure when that's the... Oh, hit the camera again. So I'm sure that's when this one came out. Yeah, 1990. So these came out in the same year, but I've never seen this one before. And I'm pretty sure I would have bought this one over this one if I'd seen it, but never seen it before. It might have been part of a bigger pack that I never got. So yeah, so that's... And another thing that annoyed me back then, and it still annoys me, is the lack of scale, because almost all the figures are the same size. Like Stone Cold and The Rock, maybe roughly the same size, but as you'll see in a second, we've got a couple of different Kanes. We've got this Kane, which is awesome, but he's about the same height as The Rock and Stone Cold figures. The detail's great, the mask looks brilliant, although the nose has been shaved off because of all the DDTs he's been taking over the years. So I do need to replace the figure, but it's still very playable. He's got the one sleeve, which is awesome, but this arm is extremely loose. Look at that. You can't pose that. This arm has got a bit more give. I don't know what happened to him because his finger's been shaved down. I think he might have met a bit of sandpaper or a sander at some point. I don't know what's caused that. I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was my brother. I don't know. He, once again, like, how's he supposed to do a big boot when that's as high as he can lift his leg? How is that supposed to happen? Look, Kane with the big boot. There we go, he's hit the big boot. How's that? But he's got a fist, but he's also got an open palm, so Kane can perform a choke slam. So that's always awesome. So we've got this Kane, but we've also got another Kane, which is in a brighter red costume. I prefer this figure over that. I'm pretty sure he only wore this roughly when he was tag teamed with X-Pac. It's kind of got the open slits in it, where it was kind of like mesh, so that his skin was a bit more exposed. I don't know if that was just to keep him cooler while he's wrestling. The nose in this one hasn't been shaved down. You can see the different eyes, which is awesome. I wish the mask was removable, but I'd have probably lost it if I did that. The hair looks great on this one. detail on the back. It's got detail on both sides of his legs. Fantastic. But this one, this arm isn't as loose, but it feels loose. But the only problem with this one is he's got two bald fists. So this one's a completely bald fist, but this one's a bald fist that you can put a weapon in if you got a weapon. There was lots of WWE accessories with weapons, like you get chairs, you get kendo sticks and things like that. I don't really have them all, so I don't really have many of my original accessories left. So another one we've got is another Mick Foley Mankind one. This one is great. This one, the mask is not removable. He kind of suffers because you can see his shirt ends there, so even if I wanted to, I couldn't get his legs any higher than that. So that's literally as high as that leg raises. It's worse than Kane. But it's a great Mankind figure. The detail is great. Look at the happy expression. The mask looks fantastic. His hair looks brilliant. His costume's great. He basically shares the exact same arms as some other figures, just in a different colour. Like, those are the exact same arms as The Rock, almost. I know these are the same arms that are on a few of my Titantron Undertaker figures, the exact same ones. But that's under conversation when we get to my Undertaker video. So another one we've got here is the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. I'm a big Ken Shamrock fan. I was gutted when he left WWF. But here he is. It doesn't really look like Shamrock, but he looks angry enough to be Shamrock. He's even got some detail on his shirt. It says, the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. And he's wearing these wee shorts. I'm not entirely sure I remember him wearing this costume at all. It might have been when the corporation was doing a promo and he was just in the background. I don't know. The legs suffer the exact same fate. He's got the chip. The arms in this one aren't as stiff, but you can pose. You can do his Ken Shamrock. But still a wee bit loose, but his hips are extremely loose. Look how loose that is. I don't even need to do much and it just spins. So that kind of annoys me. So I just make some space. Knock yours down. There you go. Make some space for Shamrock. Shamrock's coming through. Here we go. Okay, so these next two belong to my brother. He kind of didn't want his wrestling figures anymore, so I ended up with some of his. They're the exact same wrestler, just in different attires. So, first one we have here is an Edge that still looks kind of like Chris Jericho. Bright yellow hair. Don't know why it's so yellow. Nice Edge trousers. It looks just like Edge. You're probably wondering what's on his arms. He did come with a sleeveless jacket that can come on and off, which these days it went all weird, sticky, rubbery that a lot of the Jack specific toys went. So, I think we get rid of that because I didn't want to waste the entire figure because it looked like the rubber was degrading. It does look a wee bit like Dolph Ziggler, so now you can pretend that's Dolph Ziggler because we don't have a Dolph Ziggler when you're playing with your toys. And we've got another Edge. I think this is my brother's second Edge figure. This one, I'd say, is closer hair colour wise. It's the exact same head, just a different hair colour. Different coloured jacket, obviously, and different coloured tights. I think I like those tights, the pink tights, a lot better. Really do. So it's the exact same figure, practically. Actually, it's other than this hands and the print, it's the exact same figure. 100%. I don't know. They did that a lot back in the day, so we'll find out more about that later. And this next figure is a Road Dogg figure. I remember out of the New Age Outlaws, I loved Billy Gunn more than Road Dogg, but I think I couldn't get a Billy Gunn, so this one's quite cool. Kind of looks like Road Dogg. They were using that new scanning technology, so God knows what's happened. The hair looks great. That is well moulded and sculpted for Road Dogg. So it says Road Dogg, New Age Outlaws on his top, and on the back there's no detail. Let's get these sleeves, I think, were used for X-Pac as well. These arms, because it's basically just the DX colours. It's wearing bog standard trousers. Suffers the same articulation problems. This one's even worse. My God, that was stiff. That was stiff as Jimmy Savile in a nursery. Jesus. Anyway, next one here. I actually bring you back. I'm going to use you as an example because I found something. This next one is, we've got Shane McMahon wearing his X-Punk Degenerate hoodie. It's the same arms, the exact same arms, except this one's got an open fist, that one's a bald fist. So I like this figure. It doesn't really look like Shane McMahon. It could be, it kind of looks, it could pass as a young Bruce Campbell, I don't know. But it's a great figure. I just love the fact he was wearing his X-Punk shirt, t-shirt, that's why I got it. I love this figure. Let's just get rid of you. Got too many of these Jack specifics now. Yeah, so I like this. I had a Vince McMahon that was in a suit. I don't know where that one went, because I do remember specifically going out of my way to buy the Vince McMahon one just so I could have him getting beaten up. But I don't know what happened to him. So the last Titantron live figure we've got here was another one of my brothers. It is Christian in his Brood attire. So we can all agree that looks hee-haw like Christian. It looks nothing like him. My son likes to pretend this is a Chris Jericho figure, don't you, son? So it's a Christian figure. Good detail on the torso. You've got his crucifix, you've got his other wee chain, you've got his ruffled shirt. The shirt, like, those are unique arms just for him, I think. I think these are unique. Yep, there's the extra detail on there compared to... Is that the same? Those not yet completely. The collars are the same, but I thought maybe it's reprint. The legs are your bog standard legs that are on a lot of the figures. They're a wee bit chipped here. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I tried to raise his leg a little high. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe so there's been a whole section here that seems to have been broken off, but the figure still looks great. So that's my final Titantron live figure. Me and my brother, we used to love playing with these things. We had our own little storylines, everything. So we had this new ring. We made our own tables and all that, but there's one thing I remember buying, and I've never seen it since. Let me just get this over. See if I can get this without hitting the camera. Nope, hit the camera. Okay, I am going to use... Yeah, here we go. Nope, it's not happening. So this is a WWF accessory box. It's meant to be one of those backstage things that comes with wheels. It's got good detail. It looks like something you see sitting backstage. I keep some micro SD cards in here now. So this was full of WWE accessories like cameras and stuff you'd see backstage. I'll just move that. And it came with this man who was a cameraman. He had a camera and everything. So I had him back the side of the ring. So if anyone got thrown over, they'd sometimes hit the cameraman. I think this is a nice unique figure. I think it cost me like £15–20 at the time. It was quite expensive. I've never seen it since. But yeah, that face. I'm not going to say anything about the face. My son's here, but we all know what the jokes are. Put them in the comments. Anyway, so yeah, so you'd have the camera up there. He'd keep all the action. He's got a watch and everything on. Basic figure, but we use him now as a referee figure because he can do the 3 count with his hand. So yeah, so that's great. So those are the Titantron Jack specific toys. I have 2 non-Titantron Jack specific. These are late Jack specific, like towards the end of their contract Jack specific, because they ended in 2009. These figures are from 2005, so this one's midway. And then the one after that is 2003. Okay, I thought they were later than that, but no, they're not. So the first one we have here is Michael Cole. The scale on this guy is redonkulous. He's massive compared to the other wrestlers. So later, the later Jack specific, they tried to make him a bit bigger, a bit more articulated. The articulation on this Michael Cole is great, but he looks creepy. Look at that. Imagine him just coming down the hallway. Imagine that as a mask. He'd win the horror movies. I think he had a tie on, but I got this at a car boot sale years and years ago. I think it cost me like 50p. I thought that was great because when my son got to about 4, I found a wrestling ring in a charity shop, so I thought I'd maybe let him play with my old wrestling toys, so I thought I'd get him some articulated ones. So I got him this one, but he, for some reason, for years thought this was a Two-Face figure from Batman, despite him looking nothing like Two-Face. That amuse you, son? So now he uses him as an actual commentator sitting ringside, don't you, son? Mm-hmm. Although the scale is completely off for everything. This next figure is, I cannot remember the man's name. I did look it up before filming this and I forgot to write it down. So this guy, he was part of a tag team on, I'm pretty sure it was SmackDown, years and years ago, 2003 when the figure came out. There was 2 of them. They were the Highlanders. I remember that as the name of their tag team. Now, as I said, about 4 years ago, I got that wrestling ring. I was trying to get my son into wrestling. Daniel Bryan was massive at the time, so I thought, Daniel Bryan's got a big beard. This figure here has a big beard because I bought him in the same car boot as the Michael Cole. I'll get this and just tell him it's Daniel Bryan. And it worked for years, didn't it, son? You thought it was a Daniel Bryan figure? It could easily pass as a Daniel Bryan figure. Yep.
Is it Daniel Bryan?
It's not Daniel Bryan in the slightest.
Who is it?
I can't remember his name. but he was in a tag team called the Highlanders. But he wears brown. Daniel Bryan kind of wore brown at one point, so it did work out. The only difference is this guy's got some tattoos, which, let's face it, they look not too bad. Especially that one, the small detail is great. Figure itself's great. It worked well as a Daniel Bryan with his long beard, but hey ho. So that's the Jakks Pacific toys that I've got. All of those, except those two car boot ones, are from my childhood. I had all those as kids. I've kept them. There's hunters missing. I mean, hunters missing. I would say I had at least double. I don't know what happened to them. Half of them were my brother's, so I don't know if he's maybe just thrown out his half. Don't know what happened to them. So now we're going to do a quick jump cut, and we're going to talk about some WCW figures from that same era before we move on to some more modern WWE figures. Okay. Right, that's them all tidied away. So before we get the WCW ones out, my son was saying while we were tidying it up, we should do a little a comment thing. If you try and guess how many times I've hit the camera so many times in this video by the end, put your comment down below before we finish the video. But it's a nice wee little game. So these are from WCW. These were roughly the same time as Attitude Era Titantron figures. So these came out in about 98, 99. Yep, these are all from 99. So I've only got a small handful. I don't know where they all went. I did have a Kevin Nash that was kicking about the house recently. Don't know where he is. Can't find him. It's a great figure. So the first one we're going to talk about is this Goldberg. Don't know where this Goldberg came from. I think I got this in a charity shop. I'm not entirely sure. So the Toy Biz figures, as you can see, they look a bit better built than the Titantron figures. The detail is roughly the same, I'd say. They're a lot shinier, but they've got a lot more posability. Like you can turn his arms. So this one's got an action feature. You can throw and he can only go up and down. But look how high that can go compared to the Titantron Live. He can do a big boot, and it's Goldberg. There was the detail there that was his logo, but on the back you've got who's next. So I love these figures. You can do plenty with them. I remember when I first seen the WCW figures, it was on the playground. Someone brought them in. I was like, where'd you get them? Because up until then, the only wrestling figures that I'd been buying, I got from Argos, Index, or a toy shop in Saltcoats called Ivor Spanner. That's the toy shop guy that asked me why I was buying Kurgan. If anybody remembers Ivor Spanner, give me a comment, because that was a fantastic toy shop. So I remember being blown away, and he told me he got them in a shop called Beatties in Kilmarnock. And I remember sneaking up to Kilmarnock on the bus, because it's an hour away, just to go up and buy wrestling figures, because I was too young at the time to go that far on my own. But I remember going up just to get wrestling figures. So yeah, and sometimes I'd go up with my uncle, because he would take me up just to get some wrestling figures. So we've got another Goldberg here. It's basically the exact same figure, it just doesn't have any action feature. It's just a figure that can move. Doesn't have the articulation mid-arm, but it's still a great figure. It's got Fear the Spear in the back. It's the exact same head mold, exact same torso mold from what I can see. It's almost identical arm, and it's the exact same leg molds. It's eerie, but you can tell the detail on them is the exact same. So we've got two Goldbergs. Next one here is we've got Paul White, aka The Big Show, but at the time The Giant in WCW. So this one is a good one. I think this one belonged to my uncle and he just left it to me. I'm not entirely sure. So it's a good figure. This one had a power and action feature where he would do the choke slam. If you look closely, you would see that the thumb actually closes around. The grip is terrible. It's always been terrible. It feels okay on your finger, but when you try to do it to a figure, it doesn't have any strength to pick it up. So you've always got to kind of start it up there and hope it doesn't drop it before you let go, and you do the choke slam. So this one is, there's two Big Show figures that do the exact same. This one and one looks exactly the same, just doesn't have the neck brace. The reason he's got this neck brace is it's part of an angle where in real life he got dropped on his neck by Kevin Nash during a pop-up, during a jackknife powerbomb, and he hurt his neck. So in the storyline he wore a brace for a little while, so they made a figure out of it. The one without the neck brace, they all came with something, and he came with a small Rey Mysterio, so his accessory was Rey Mysterio. But these figures, I like the fact that there was scale, because look at that. He is much bigger than him. He's a lot wider than him. The figure is a lot heavier, so yeah, it's great. And you also do the choke slam with this big open clawed hand. Fantastic. So that's a Big Show. So this next one, I'm not going to tell you his name right away. I'm going to leave him looking at the screen. I'm going to cover up his logo. so I don't want to give it away. And I want anyone who doesn't already know right away what figure this is to try and guess who it is. Who is that meant to be? Who does that look like from WCW 1999? Okay. Okay, any guesses? Okay. If anybody guessed Roddy Piper, you'd be right. How is this a Roddy Piper figure? He came with a kilt that I can't find, and he came with a big squeezy bagpipe that shot out missiles. So he did have an action feature where he pulled a string and his arm would go. But the string snapped years ago, but the figure's still great. But how is that? It looks nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing like Roddy Piper. So it's still a great figure. I had many great times fighting the Goldberg, hitting him with the spear or hitting him with a pile driver. I'm pretty sure that was Roddy Piper's finisher during WCW. And the last two WCW figures we've got from Toy Biz, these are weird ones. There was a lot of gimmick figures. So this was a 2-pack that me and my brother halved in for because we thought this pack looks great. We're going to have hours of fun with this. It is a Hulk Hogan and Goldberg 2-pack. So that's right, another Goldberg. That's all we needed. So we've got Goldberg here. Yeah, I'll discuss his fists in a minute. So yeah, the figure's great. All he can do with his leg is that spinny thing. And basically, this exact same for the Hollywood Hulk Hogan. We did have an actual Hulk Hogan, but I can't find them. So these have got magnets in their fists so that they can connect and fight by throwing each other about. So you can throw them over like suplex. And that's about it. They came with a steel chair that had a magnet in it. So yeah, so Goldberg can do the exact same thing. So, steel chair. It was a WCW NWO. We've lost one of the legs, but same principle applied. You attach it, and you can beat them senseless with it. I don't know why we thought these were going to be great. So you can see there's nothing in his back, but Hulk Hogan's got a metal plate in his back. The detail in this Hulk Hogan figure is actually pretty good. Looks like Hulk Hogan. There's decent detail in his tights. So the plate in his back is so that he can grip on, but for some reason the magnetism on that plate is terrible. I don't know if it's because you've got all the weight going into one joint, but you can, as you can see, the joints gave up there. Can't really pick them up all that well. So I don't know if you're supposed to hold them that way, but even at that, it's terrible. And then every now and again his leg does that and he looks like an idiot. So that's the WCW Toy Biz toys from 1999 that I have. I did have a lot more because I remember having a Hulk Hogan that would do a headlock and punch at the same time. He'd punch the head that he had in the headlock. I remember we had a Randy Savage that was just awesome, and I had at least 2 or 3 Kevin Nashes because it all came with awesome stuff. So now we're going to do another jump cut. Oh wait, thank you son, you brought me this. We've got another WCW toy that I forgot to prep. It's a giant one. It no longer works. We did have 2, but this one is a DDP. As you can see, it's a huge figure compared to these. It doesn't even fit in the frame, so I'm just going to set him down. So the detail on it's great, but that's because the figure's so huge. You can see his t-shirt, his diamond cutter, see his tattoos on the backs where the batteries go. I've replaced the batteries several times, but it doesn't work no longer. So as you can see, there, don't know if you can see it, there's a little sensor right there, there's a speaker there. So what would happen is you got this one and you also got a big sting, and they would talk to each other and give each other back chat. Oh, smashed the camera there that time, didn't I? There we go, you can count that one. They would give each other back chat and stuff if they sensed each other, or they would just give random chat if they couldn't sense the other one. But the thing that I loved about this is his mouth. Let me just get this close. His mouth actually moved when he spoke. Oh, his eyes are very scaly, but his mouth actually moved when he spoke, which I thought was great. The Sting one looked just like Sting. There's nothing to say about it. I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared years ago. No idea what happened to it. So that's that one. So thank you, son, for reminding me about that one.
I didn't even know it was a part of that series. I just thought you'd do it.
Oh, there's another WCW one right here. It's not actually an action figure, but it's a little brawling teddy buddy. I have a Kevin Nash one. There's a DDP one somewhere. All they did was make noises when you pressed a button. I have had this since 1998. And my son used to cuddle into this when he was a baby. He used to love the Kevin Nash one. That was the first wrestler he ever knew about because of this teddy. So yeah, Let me just have a quick scan of the room. Yep, so that's definitely us done with WCW. Let us move on to my most modern WWE figures, and I'll explain more when I get there. Alright, now that we're done with the WCW, we're going to look at some of my only modern WWE figures. These are from Mattel. So when Mattel took over the contract for WWE figures, they basically said they're all going to be to scale. All figures will be to scale. So no matter what set you buy from, there will be a scale in there and they will all match. So for example, if you bought a Big Show, it'd be much bigger than say if you bought a Rey Mysterio, things like that. So that's what I love about Mattel. So these first two Mattel figures I got at a card boot back in, I want to say last April. I got these back in last April. Main reason I got, there wasn't a card boot, it was a charity shot up actually. I seen them for £1 each and I thought I'll get them for the shelf because I love both of these wrestlers. So the first one I got was a Daniel Bryan. So this figure is from 2012, but it kind of looks like Daniel Bryan as he looks just now, as he's had his hair and his beard trimmed. So yeah, you can see Daniel Bryan. Don't know if you can hear the dogs outside going mental. That's just my neighbours. They can't seem to control the dogs.
The dog barks every night.
It does. So yeah, so this is what we call a WWE Elite figure. He's got extreme articulation. He can move his legs. He's got a ball joint in the leg. So a basic WWE figure wouldn't have this joint in the stomach, and the legs would only move forwards and back. They don't go side to side. They don't have that twist right there. But this is an Elite Daniel Bryan figure. I think it's great. It looks good sitting on my shelf with his hands up in his yes pose. And my son has great fun playing with him, don't you, son? So the other one I got that day is a Kevin Owens. This is a basic figure, so you'll see the difference because it doesn't have the chest joint and it doesn't have the twisty legs. So it's Kevin Owens. So these cost me £2 back in April. So yeah, it still looks great for a basic figure. So basic doesn't mean worse, it just means they've got less articulation so that kids can afford to buy them and collectors can buy the Elite figures. So this one's got the Kevin Owens show shirt on. One of the things that attracted me to it, because I've got this t-shirt and I wanted the figure. It's got his detail with his Live/Evil tattoo. So his legs only move forward and back, but the heels can twist and they can, well, he is back to front. There we go. Can move forward and back, and he can bend at the knee. It says fight on his shorts, just like it does in real life. So we've got Kevin Owens here. He looks great on display as well. He just stands on my shelf. So the next one I got this at a car boot now. This is the one I did get from a car boot. Charity shop, next one car boot, because I nearly lost my stuff when I seen it, as you'll see. So this is an Undertaker figure. It's the only one other than the Hasbro one I'm going to show in this video, just to show off the scale that I was talking about. So this is an Undertaker. This is classic mid-90s Undertaker, with his purple gloves, purple boots. This is an Elite figure. This cost me like £1.50 back in, I'd say this was October. I got this in October at a car boot. So I was very excited to see it. This one's extreme articulation. It looks great on the shelf. You can do many poses. But as you can see, just standing next to those two, put your arms down. I'll move you a bit closer. The scale is great. So that is roughly the right height difference between Undertaker, Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. So this next one I got this at Christmas. This was Ken Shamrock, as you've seen with my Jack Pacific. I was a big Ken Shamrock fan. I got this at Christmas. So this is Ken Shamrock. This is an Elite figure. He comes in his robe. It comes with a stand to display him, but I didn't bother bringing the stand down. So the robe itself got great Shamrock. It says Shamrock, and it's got a little wee Shamrock there. So let's just get his robe off and we'll show off some of his detail. I think my son's getting bored. He's getting restless sitting behind me. We'll get this finished soon, son. Don't worry. You're the one that wanted to film it while you were here. So we'll just get this off so you can just see the detail in the Shamrock figure and how poseable he is. So we'll set that there. So yeah, this looks a lot more like Shamrock. As you can see, it's an Elite figure. He's got the chest joint, so he's poseable. So you can do his classic Shamrock rage. So you go, ah! So it says Shamrock on shorts. Other than that, the knee pads look great. You can still bend the leg with the knee pads on. So yeah, so he's a bit taller than Kevin Owens, just a bit. He's taller than Daniel Bryan, so the scale is working great. And this next one I just got as a gift from my mate Chris. I did a video on it not too long ago, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Kurt Angle, but in that video I did say this arm is very, very, very stiff. It has since loosened up with movement, so now I can do the classic Kurt Angle poses. There we go. You suck. So those are the modern Mattel ones. So these ones are ones I would like to collect every now and then. So if I ever get a new Mattel one or find something up a car boot, I will do a video on it. Because I will be hunting car boots in charity shops whenever I get a spare few pound to myself. Got hiccups now. So thank you for watching this full video and putting up with me accidentally hitting the camera and struggling to pronounce stuff. So my son's just trying to show me Kurt Angle's stand, but because I've done a video on him, I'm not going to bother showing off his musical stand. So yeah, so those are all the WWE figures. I hope you've learned something. I didn't give too much detail away. I'm only kind of new at looking up the history of wrestling action figures. So I will learn more, and I might do more videos and things like this if this gets good feedback. If you enjoyed this, let me know. Send me a message, write a comment, anything like that. And as always, don't forget to have a gidgeon, and bye for me, and bye from
Bye.
Bye from him. Bye.